Hi, I'm Emily. I recently graduated from Nova High School. I'm very active in my Temple Kolomi Emmanuel, and I was very involved with the youth group there, CAFTI, and in NIFTY. And Judaism has always been very important in my family.
Hi, I'm Zach Sanders.
And I'm Carly Sanders. And we grew up in Weston, Florida. We're both very active at our synagogue, B'nai Aviv. I was very active in USY, Zach still is. And we both had the privilege on going on March of the Living. I went in 2004 and he went this year.
My name is Roz Sanders and I live in Weston, Florida, and I'm an active member of Temple B'nai Aviv. Both of my kids had the opportunity to attend the March of the Living program. It's probably a trip that I can't describe because I've never been there. However, for them to be able to go back and retrace the steps of their grandmother, who was actually in a concentration camp, and for them to see Poland, which is where both of my parents grew up, is something that I hope I have the opportunity to do.
I went on the March of the Living in spring 2010, and I went because it's not an experience that most people get to have, and it's something that was too amazing to pass up. And my experience was completely inspirational and emotional and life-changing and so many other adjectives.
The day of the actual march in Poland affected me the most, and I was very lucky to be able to actually walk with one of the survivors, David.
One of the most amazing moments that I had on the March of the Living was actually in Auschwitz right before the actual march started. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie American Beauty, but there's one character who's very into film, and he has some footage that he shot, and it's just of a plastic bag blowing around in the wind, and he's saying about how he thinks it's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And as the march was starting, they blew a shofar over the loudspeakers to signify the beginning of the march. And right when they did, I looked up and I saw a plastic bag floating around in the sky, and I couldn't help but think how beautiful what we were doing was.
See all of the tombstones designated for each city of people that were taken from their homes and placed into concentration camps. There were so many of them that I kept telling myself I'll never find the city that my grandmother and her family were taken from. When, after probably 15-20 minutes of searching, I was able to find it. And I'll never forget sitting in the grass, writing my diary, and really feeling like I had the opportunity to connect with everybody that I was with and see a little bit of what my family had gone through and kind of walk in the same footsteps that they did.
After being in Poland for a week and being in all the concentration camps and on the march, it was so great to go to Israel. We went to Auschwitz on the last day of our week in Poland, and we were all so ready to leave and so happy to be in Israel. And for me, it was my first time there. And we got to the airport in Tel Aviv, and my mom on our bus, one of the chaperones, came over to me and my other friend, and she knew it was both of our first times in Israel, and she said, "Oh, welcome home, girls." And it was such a great feeling to finally be able to be in Israel and see what all the hype was about.
That we as Jews get to make it to Israel from Poland was the best feeling in the world, because there were millions of Jews who never got to reach our homeland, the only state for the Jewish
Getting
people.
into Israel, everything changes. As soon as you get off the airplane, people will run up to you to say hi. It's just it's a great feeling, and being in Israel, that's my home. I can definitely call it my home now, being in there. Thank the Federation for funding this trip, most of this trip for me. Without them, this would have never happened, and I would have never had this experience.
The Federation is so helpful because it makes it easier for kids to be able to go on trips like this. And I already know there's a lot of kids who, don't have the means to go on the March of the Living, and if it weren't for the Federation, they would not have been able to go. And my friends who went on the trip who could only go because of the scholarship money and the payment plans, the options given to them, had the best experiences of their life. And I know they're all so grateful. And I cannot stress how important it is for the March of the Living to continue on.